this week. This will be Wednesday, February 25th. We are going to do a quick review of the stuff before, then get into more of our Olympiad-y things. This is blah, blah, blah. The myth homework, the due date has been changed for the actual date because it has to be 2 days after the quiz, and the quiz comes up on Friday, so that'll be due Tuesday of next week. So theoretically, it's not due till next month, because Tuesday of next month is March, so that way. Ooh, hang on. Let's hope this doesn't mess things up. Plugging in the microphone. I know, it's so exciting. Alright, then let's see, to review back, we had the big battle between Kronos and Zeus. At the end of the big war between Kronos and Zeus, what did the big ugly monsters have to agree to?
To stay away from the world and never be seen.
That's a great point. To go to the edge of the world to never be seen again. What is it the Cyclops choose to do?
Hide in a mountain.
Hide in a mountain, and that's where they set up. They go out to a mountain, find some place to set up their workshop, and they go into there. What happens to all the humans?
They die.
They die.
Why do they die?
Because
they're
they're
humans, not immortal.
thrown.
Because of the throwing of stuff, and because they're made out of mud, and the fact that there's no girls, so they can't make more of them, so they end up dying off. So all of the humans are now gone. Then we have our big mountain up here, and then what happened to the mountain holding up the sky?
Alice stands on it.
No, that's not that. What happens to the
falling.
Nicely done. And so it starts to fall apart and get broken and smashed. So Zeus has to solve the problem, so it doesn't slide out and fall down and kill everybody. And so he decides that he's going to torture someone. And who does he decide to torture?
Atlas.
Why does he choose Atlas?
Because he's the strongest and he was the general.
There you go. Because he was the general and led the army against him, which made him grumpy. And then, of course, he's also the strongest, which means he's powerful enough to do it. Which brings in Atlas, who then has to lift the sky upon his back, which is there the images of him lifting the sky upon his back. And so he then lifts the sky up so it cannot fall. Did we get to why Atlas doesn't drop the sky?
Yeah.
Because
he
has
has
9 daughters.
9 daughters, the Hesperides, who set up a camp down here at the bottom, and they were able to go up and talk to him and visit and bring him food. And so because of that, he does not drop the sky because he doesn't want to kill his own daughters and to be nice to Zeus at that point, and things are good. Zeus now goes up to Mount Olympus and takes that as his new home. And what do we call Zeus now that he's part of Mount Olympus?
Olympians.
An Olympian. And he starts giving the thrones to people, and they become his other Olympians. Who are the first 6 Olympians?
Poseidon, Zeus, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia.
Nicely done. So the 2 brothers and 3 sisters become the first Olympians who get thrones on Mount Olympus. Then he splits up the world with his 2 brothers, and they end up sharing it into these different kingdoms. And so Zeus is the first one to take a kingdom. What does Zeus take as his kingdom?
The
ground up.
Nicely done. From the ground up. So everything from the grass to the clouds was part of his kingdom. For Poseidon?
The sea.
Water.
Yeah. And so he took everything that was in the water, in the sea. It was thought that he even had control over ponds and stuff like that. He just didn't care about them very much because they weren't as special. And then Hades takes
The underworld.
so everything that is under the ground, which makes him happy, which brings in their 3 kingdoms. You have Zeus, who takes everything that's up in the sky and on Mount Olympus in the ground, Poseidon, everything in the water, and then Hades, everything under the ground, which basically means he's in control of Tartarus, which would be the people that are down there. Hey, welcome, not dead kid. Did you bring a pass?
No. Do I need one?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go get one.
Good stuff. All right. So then Hades is the everything under the ground, which is people in Tartarus and worms. Zeus now begins setting up the new king or gods of Mount Olympus. And I changed the order a little bit to make it easier, so I flip-flopped the god of what and the action. So on yours, I think yours are the other way. It saes action and then god of what. So I apologize. Okay. So I changed it so it looks like this, and I think it'll be a little bit easier on us.
So we have to change it?
You don't have to change it. If you don't mind moving things around, as long as it works in your brain, that's fine. I'm just telling you now, since we're going through it, it's going to be in different spots. Just trying to not have you be as confused. But once again, you should have this entry with yesterday's date. We'll go forward from there. Elf?
So, the Say is now also god of what?
Yes. Because I figured it made it easier since you know it's what you're looking at the god of. You with me? Okay.
Yeah.
We got to our first god yesterday.
Zeus. We didn't get much farther.
There you go. So our first god is Zeus, because he's the one that gets to put on my desk. Thank you, and welcome back. I'm glad you're not dead.
Yeah.
And so Zeus is the first god who gets to start choosing who all gets to have thrones on Mount Olympus. And as we go from there, he is the, what is he, the god of?
King of all gods.
Nicely done. King of all the gods, since he is the Mac Daddy, Daddy Mac, he's the all that and a bag of chips. And you do realize, Snail, that's on the wrong side of your notebook. That's the Bellwork side. Just trying to help you out there so you don't have to recopy it later. You're welcome. It's a gift to you. That's right. The same thing here is on the wrong side, too. So we have, I know, who would have thought of being on that, because that's the Bellwork side, and we're on the homework side, which is like the Bellwork side, but completely different.
It's the.
See how it says it's a homework? So it's on the homework side. Yeah, that's why I made it in big red letters. And so we have Zeus, king of all the gods, for the action that goes along with Zeus and being the king of all the gods. Pretty much every time we see him, he is striking the exact same pose. And that pose would be the smiting of someone with their lightning bolt. So what you're going to do is hold your lightning bolt, and then you're going to do the pointing, and then you're going to do the smiting. So hold lightning bolt, and then the smiting. Make sure that you have the pointing involved, because you don't want to be just throwing lightning bolts around willy-nilly. So almost every time you'll see that he's pointing in some direction. As you can see over there, although he has sort of just pointing downward. But
He was like this.
yeah, he has issues. So the holding of your lightning bolt and the pointing, so you can pick who it is that needs the most smiting. Whoever that random person might be.
Just direct your finger.
Yeah, random, completely. Now, yes, dear?
Why does it look like there's water on the bottom of the Zeus poster?
Because those are clouds, and clouds are made of water. Harris?
Is there a reason why we don't have pupils?
Yeah, because the artist was insane. So now Zeus has to give the next throne. So who's going to get the next throne after Zeus?
Poseidon.
Los, because there's someone he's more afraid of than Poseidon.
Hades.
No,
Hera.
he's not afraid of Hades at all. Why Hera?
Because she's white.
That's Mrs. Zeus. So Hera gets the next throne. At some time during this big war is when he and Hera started going out and hanging out together, and things went well. So they became an item. He did have that one girlfriend, Metis, for a while with the whole eating of her being in his belly. So that happened during the war. So right now she's somewhere in his bloodstream. But he and Hera are now going out. And so with Hera, what are the two things she is the god of?
Marriage and babies.
Marriage and babies, although that's not what we're going to put up there because they don't really play a big role in most of her stories. Typically, we're going to refer to her the fact that she's Mrs. Zeus, and if she is married to the king of the gods, what are we going to say for her?
Queen of the gods.
Just like that. You're going to say Hera, queen of all the gods. It's good to know that she was the god of marriage and childbirth, but it doesn't really show up in stories as much. Usually it's just her being Mrs. Zeus. For the hand sign that goes along with this, I was scared to think of what you would come up with for marriage or childbirth, so we're going to skip that part and go straight to the being queen of the gods. So you're going to take one hand and make it so it takes a C and you spread your fingers out, and then your other hand and you make a big C and you spread your fingers out, and then you bring your two C's together so it makes a ring, and then you turn the ring so it's down and you place it upon your head. And that becomes our crown. Now, you can either take the crown and wear it just normal, or for those of you who want to feel pretty, you can make it sparkly. Just realize there's a difference between I'm a queen and I'm a moose. So keep it together so that you're not the queen of Moosai.
Write that down.
Hold hands like a crown.
There you go. Hold the hands like a crown.
But the prongs are in the back. It's supposed to be.
Right, doesn't work that way, does it? And realize there's a difference between I'm a queen and I'm an angel, because she is not an angel, which is why we go that way, so that we know it's not angelic. Because as we see with her actions, far from being angelic. Strange child?
You could have just said this marriage. You could have been
Could have, but I didn't. After Hera, who's our next one to get a throne?
Poseidon.
Nicely done, because he'd be the next one that's on there because, dude's more important than chicks. So Poseidon is not my choice, it's theirs. Poseidon is our next one to get a throne. And so he steps up, is all happy, gets the next choice of the thrones up there. What are we going to say for Poseidon?
God of the sea.
Nicely done. And so he is the god of the oceans, or the sea, if you want. God of water, God of squishy things.
I put God of Water.
God
That
of
is adorable.
water balloons, all of that works for me.
Oh, is it like
So much so. And so with that, I figure the hand sign that'll help us remember him and being the god of the ocean is if I were to take you and throw you into his realm, hopefully most of you would do the same action. So you have a couple choices. Either A, swim. For some of you, you might just be lucky to dog paddle. And then the others of you would just sink like a rock. And so it's
I would just
your choice of how you want to go about acting like a swimmer. Or just talking out loud, seeing how many points we could lose along those lines too. So many fun things to choose. Right, and for those of you who want to do the little water thing, that's fine. As long as you're connecting it to Poseidon. I'm not choosy. So you can do water, you can do swimming, you can do drowning, you can do any of the options that don't include talking out loud. After Poseidon, who's our next one to get a throne?
Hades.
Hades is not on the list. And so the reason being, Hades is not an Olympian. By choice, he is the first god to give up his throne on Mount Olympus. He comes up to Mount Olympus, Zeus offers him a throne. He goes, sure, what's involved? And Zeus goes, well, what you're going to have to do is we're going to have meetings every month. Gods are going to get to come up to approach us. You're going to have to present yourself to other people. And Hades goes, I have to talk to people? He goes, yeah, on a regular basis. Hades like, no. So Hades gives up the throne and decides he does not want to be involved in all this Mount Olympus stuff. So he backs away from it, goes back down to the underworld, and is not on Mount Olympus. Which is why up here, I put him over here on the far edge, because he's not one of the gods on Mount Olympus. So Hades is not listed up there. He will not be on Mount Olympus. He was one of Zeus's brothers. He was one of the ones that got a kingdom, but is not listed as an Olympian. He was an Olympian for all of about 10 minutes, and then gave it up. So he was the first official Olympian to give up a throne. So then after Hades, who's going to be our next one to get a throne?
Demeter.
Why Demeter?
Because she's one of the sisters.
Nicely done. She's one of the sisters. So Demeter gets a throne next. And we've talked about Demeter already and what she's going to be the god of. And what is Demeter the god of?
Grains.
Grains and harvests. Nicely done. So she was the god of grains, harvests, wheats, and fun stuff like that. For the hand sign that we will do to help us remember her, what we're going to do is, I realize for those of you who are dancing people and have gone to our school dances, there is a dance that is connected to Demeter. It's sort of a form of Demeter dance. And the way it works with the Demeter dance is when you're doing it, you can either do the sprinkler, which helps you with the idea that you are now going to have the crops growing. But usually it's the chopping down of the crops. And you chop down, for most of you, you don't go around chopping down wheat, but you have really small crops in your yard that you chop down on a weekly basis over the summertime. And you're going to do the lawnmower. If you're not sure how to do the lawnmower, you have to pull the lawnmower, walk the lawnmower, walk it. And so you're going to pull, walk it, pull. And or some of you are like, Mr. Brovicast, I don't do exercise. Then you can do the riding lawnmower. And the riding lawnmower is turn, riding lawnmower. And so you have your choice of which particular lawnmower you want to go with, but the lawnmower will connect to her, because I figure for many of you, that's as close to nature as most of you get. No, I play Farmville all the time, and I chop down my crop. That does not count. You're not actually outside experiencing crops in real life. Yes, dear?
Where's Gia?
Gia is Mother Earth. She's not a Titan.
She's the earth.
Yeah,
So they're standing on her.
mentioned a lot.
Right.
Just gotta,
Yeah, she has.
She's just there. I mean, she played a big role in lots of things. She's happy now. All of her kids are free. She's hanging out doing Gia things. Child?
So you said
I did.
that Mother Earth Gia was a human, like person form and Earth form.
No.
Yes.
you did. No, you didn't.
Yeah, you did.
You're
It's at the same time.
And then you go.
Yeah, and then that's when you first did the whole logic.
Right.
thing.
So
You
why
were
are you
like,
bringing it back up?
Because
because if she was also a person form, then wouldn't that make her a god? Like, isn't she a
She
god?
is a god.
So why couldn't she have been an
She's
Olympian?
the earth.
Because how is she going to sit on a throne?
But she's in a
She was never a person form. That was the beginning of Greek mythology, and I was trying to move on, so I was just trying to have you imagine the fact that she had arms. She's always been the planet.
Well, how do
She just has little
Oh, wait, let's look at this. Moving on.
But
After
Demeter.
Wait, you missed the part where we're still moving on. So after Demeter, and let's go to that one. Who's our next one to get a throne? Hestia. Also not on the list. Hestia is I know. I wait till he starts writing because I'm a horrible person. Hestia, who is the other sister over here on. There we go. Hestia, who is over here, is also not going to be listed as one of our gods. The reason being is she starts off with a throne. She has a throne for a long time. She is listed as an Olympian for a long time. She gives up, still talking, she gives up her throne years later. And so she is not listed as one of our official Olympians. So even though she starts as an Olympian, she is still not an official Olympian. So we can't have her officially on the list. So Hestia, think about it mentally. She's up there, but she's not going to be on our list. So at this point, we have 4 people, well, 5, sitting on Mount Olympus, which means how many thrones are left to fill in?
2, 1.
8.
No.
7.
7. Because how many thrones are there?
12.
How many people are sitting on thrones?
5.
5. 12 minus 5 is?
7.
A scary bunch of children. Good job. So we have 7 thrones left to fill in. Zeus, we still talking, kids having issues. And so with this, I know, it's like talking and learning so much. And so at this point, Zeus wants to fill in the rest of the thrones, but he wants to fill them in with people that he trusts. He's run out of brothers and sisters that he trusts. So if you need to fill in the rest of the thrones with people you feel you can trust, who is he going to fill them in with?
Artemis.
His children. Problem is, he doesn't have any children yet. So at this point, Zeus begins having children to fill in the rest of the thrones. The first 2 thrones get filled in with kids that he has with his wife. So they're children that he and Hera have. He and Hera have 4 children. 2 dudes, 2 chicks. And that's where if you look at your special little family tree on there, it should tell you, I'm hoping on there, the 4 kids they have together. If not, it might just list the 2. But he has a total, he's still talking, has a total of, I know, it makes me feel grumpy too, has the 4 kids, does it have the 4 kids listed there? So you have the 4 children, the 2 boys, the 2 boys are Ares and Hephaestus, and then it has 2 girls, Hebe and Ilithyia. Hebe and Ilithyia are not going to be listed as our next ones up there. We do have 2. Hephaestus will be our next one. And then Ares, his brother, also gets a throne on Mount Olympus. Both Hephaestus and Ares become the next 2 gods to get thrones on Mount Olympus. Hebe and Ilithyia do not, for 2 reasons. 1, Zeus is sexist. 2, Zeus is sexist. And so that's pretty much why they don't. Hebe goes off and ends up marrying another one of his sons, and it's a story that happens later on. It's okay. It's a half-brother, so it's not completely creepy. Ilithyia hardly shows up in stories at all. I'm not sure what she does. She was like the black sheep of the family. She like goes off and, I don't know, hangs out with bikers or something. But Ilithyia doesn't show up much in Greek mythology. Hebe is referred to as the cupbearer of the gods. And so she gets to hang out on Mount Olympus and bring them drinks. Nowadays, we would call that a
Bartender.
Yeah, like a maid or a servant or a bartender. But that's how Zeus feels like, oh, you're my daughter. You can still hang out and serve us food, but you don't get to have a throne. And she's like, oh, thank you, Papa. And so she gets to still hang out. And Zeus is sort of, she's like, but your brothers, they get thrones because, you know, dudes and all. She's like, yeah, that's totes fair. And so life is good. Elf?
I thought Zeus was mad at
Hephaestus?
Yes.
We're not there yet. That's why I'm trying to get to it.
So what happened?
Jackson!
Oh.
She isn't exist yet.
Yeah, she has
Rose?
Like, so when Hephaestus was thrown onto that
Haven't gotten there
island,
yet.
I know, but he was
Dang
born.
it.
This is just a reminder of the importance, especially today, to have period 1 attendance recorded and reported before the end of the period today. If you are unable to do it via computer, be sure to send a paper copy down to the front office. Again, be sure to record and report attendance first period today and have that done before we move on to our scheduled practice test. Thank you.
Rose?
So like he was little when that happened because you were talking about and so does that mean that little kids can have
Let's get to
thrones?
the story. So now, once again, we'll get to that. So at this point, Zeus has his first son, a kid by the name of Hephaestus. And when Hephaestus is born, and this is where that story is going to come in that I told you guys previously, but I did not tell any of my other classes this story, because I realized after I told it to you, I told it out of order, so I apologize. But to give you the quick, speedy version of that particular story, you have the fact that Hephaestus is born. He comes in and sees Zeus and Hera in a big fight. And there's different versions of this story. Some stories have Hera doing the throwing. Some stories have Zeus doing the throwing. However you want to look at it, Hephaestus gets in the middle of a fight between Zeus and Hera. And the one I usually use is the fact that Zeus gets mad at him, picks him up, and throws him as hard as he can. When he throws Hephaestus as hard as he can, living on top of Mount Olympus, he does not hit the ground because being on top of a mountain, goes flying out really, really far, goes flying out until he hits and lands on a mountain. The landing on a mountain is what makes his leg go kapopity and cripples him for life.
Did you see the ocean and the island?
Good job. So he lands on that, hence me saying an island. And so
You said mountain.
well, sorry, a mountain on an island. I apologize. Because remember the mountain's there because he goes into the mountain to find the... Did I get to that part?
No.
Oh, that's where we got.
She might have, I don't know.
Analyst, whenever I stopped this, see, I didn't get to carry the whole story. So he goes flying out, lands on this island out in the middle of the water, and I'm guessing there we'll have to stop. So no, we'll have to pick up again on this because we won't be able to do it tomorrow and can't do it Friday. So Monday we'll find out about him landing on the island.
What?